All right, so to everybody, thank you for showing up to getting started with CSS animation. I'm Kyle McDonald, and as Bruce said in the beginning, just make sure that you are on mute. We don't want to have any Progressive Insurance commercials going on with this presentation. So, about me, that's a nice little picture of me. I'm a student at Clark College since April of 2019, and I plan on graduating this fall. I started learning HTML and CSS in the summer of 2019 with Tim Griffin, and I started expanding upon that with Bruce. A couple quarters later in another class. And why do I enjoy coding? I enjoy coding because it's like many of my hobbies. I find that the thrill of building something and putting in countless hours of work into something and then finally seeing the finished product come to life is just second to none. For myself, with everything that I do, I'm always pushing myself to, and that's I obviously forgot to finish my sentence there, but I'm always pushing myself to dig into the nooks and crannies of everything that I'm interested in and try to just understand everything as best as I possibly can. Some of my programming knowledge, you might notice that my PowerPoint skills don't necessarily progress past the template, so that's why that's not listed under proficiencies. But HTML, CSS, Python, PHP, JavaScript, WordPress, MySQL, and SQL, C#, and Laravel. And I am currently learning React and Timber. My hobbies include I'm a woodworker and I own my own small business, Immortal Wood Designs. I'm a painter of acrylic and oil mediums, and I'm a musician of many sorts. Contact, if you're interested in getting in contact with me, there it is. So, with all that said, let's dive right in. So, my demo, there we go. So we have a basic file structure. We have demo HTML and the style CSS. Linked is the style sheet, and we have a simple div with a class of box. In the style.css, we have a styling to the box div with a height of 200 pixels, width 200 pixels red, and a margin just to kind of get it out of the corner. So when you think of a transition, a lot of people think of something like a hover animation. And maybe you want to do a background color of blue when you hover over it. And that's all well and good. When you hover over it, it goes from red to blue. But what if you wanted to, say, make that fade in, fade out over a certain amount of time? You can do the, transition property with a 1 second. And look at that. Over 1 second, it goes from red to blue. Now, say you wanted to, perform say we wanted this to on hover move over 10 pixels or something, move over to the right 10 pixels. We would simply do a transform, and this will take many different. So you can see we have matrix, perspective, rotate, skew, scale, but we're going to do a transform translate, actually, and that will take either 1 or 2 variables. And the first variable would be the x-axis, which would move the box along the x-axis. The y-axis would be the second variable, y. Now you can put in simply 200 pixels. Actually, let's do 20 pixels. And you don't have to put in the y-axis. So if we hover over it, boom, look at that. And if we wanted to make it go 20 pixels on x and 20 pixels on y, we could, there we go. Now, say we wanted to change the timing of these and say transition.
I don't know if it's too advanced, you know?
everybody to make sure that they are on mute at this time. So, transition, sorry. And property, and we're going to do a background, and that will sync up with the transition duration of 1 second. Now, if we wanted to change the transform to have a different timing, we can simply do transform and put a comma here and do 2 seconds. So now we got color changes over 1 second, and it translates from 0 to 20 pixels on the X and Y axis over the duration of 2 seconds. Now, if we wanted to do a rotate, let's just see if we can stack our transforms. Rotate 10 degrees. So it performs the background change, and it only performs the most recent transform. So it is this transform is actually overriding this transform and is essentially getting commented out. So, but if we wanted to maybe do, if we wanted to make the object if we wanted to make the object rotate and also form origin, if we wanted it to translate and rotate, we could simply do a matrix. And the default values for a matrix are 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. Now, this variable here will control the skew of a object. So if we did 0.25 and reload and hover, we can see that it actually skews the object. If we wanted to rotate it a certain amount, then we could do 0.25 and 25, and we want to make that a negative to counteract the skew. So now it rotates. And in order to move it along the X and Y axis, this is our X axis and this is our Y axis. So if we did 20 pixels. Oh, of course, now it's not working. Oops, sorry. So we can see that it rotates and translates at the same time. So that takes care of, let's see, so if you wanted to do just a basic transform skew, you can do that very easily by just doing 25 pixels, something like that. Boom, 25, sorry. Percent. Or not. Why are you not working now? I'm not sure why that's not working. So let's go to our keyframes. So we're going to get rid of this box.hover. Whoops. Oh my God. Okay, so and we're going to make a keyframe animation, and we're going to call it action. And this, keyframes work off of percentages of your animation duration, and that will become more apparent once we start filling in the box class up here. So at 0%, 0%, at 0%, we are going to have our background be red. And maybe say at 100%, we want our background color to be blue. So now we can come up here, and add the animation property as well as the name of the animation that we wish to use. And now we can use the animation duration and say 4 seconds. So, 4 seconds. Reload that. At keyframes, sorry. So now you can see that it goes from blue to red. Yeah. If we wanted to make this position relative and say at 0%, we have a top of 0 pixels and a left of 0 pixels. And at 100%, we do a top of 50 pixels, or sorry, a top of 0 pixels and a left of 150 pixels. Sorry, I have those mixed up. 0 pixels and 150. Whoop, not 1500. So now we can see that it moves down and changes color within 4 seconds, or over the course of 4 seconds. Now, if we wanted it to stay in that bottom position, we could do a something that's called fill mode for animations, animation fill mode right here. And we could say either backwards, both, forwards, all these different variables, but forwards is one that we are looking for, and that will stick it to the bottom once it's done. Boom. Now, you don't have to go from 0 to 100% each time. You can go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 100. It's just important to have 0 to 100%. So if we have a 25% in here, and let's say we want that to be top 50 pixels, left 100 pixels. And background color of yellow. Now you'll see that it goes over there, comes to the bottom, and it sticks. So we're kind of making a diamond shape right now. And if we come to 50%, and we do top 0 pixels, left, we're actually basically doing this right here. Boom, boom. Make that our, and our 100% will be something different later on. 75%. And we could do top 50 pixels, and left negative 100 pixels, and background orange. So now we have boom, boom, boom. And at 100% it goes back to that blue, which we don't want. We want to go back to its initial setting, which was red at 0 pixels, 0 pixels. Boom, boom. And
hey Kyle, there's some questions in the chat. Maybe you could take a look at it. I think Kevin and Katja had some things there.
Let me try to open it. Wow. Yeah, as always, yes. Can you explain a bit about transform transition property related to transformation? I'm not entirely sure what you're asking, I guess. If you wanted that to happen on page load, would you just input the transform and the .box class transition property transform? Yes. We'll ask Kyle that question shortly. There, okay. Actually, it will help us to understand to explain CSS property and then use it. What does 0 to 100% do? Otherwise, not following up. As opposed to putting it in the dot box hover. Yeah. Like this might be out of my element, Bruce. I don't know.
Okay, let's just carry on. There was the other gentleman or person who asked, Kevin. He left, so let's not answer his question. And he was being kind of rude in the in the chat there. So Katja, we'll do some research and we'll post it as a comment to this recording on YouTube. All right?
Yeah, and to everybody, I apologize. I'm obviously not as well prepared as I thought I was. So, so let's go back. We can add from keyframes. We can manipulate this square even more if we wanted to, and we could do a border radius, something like that. And with the border radius, you can manipulate each individual border. So in the top, starts at the clockwise, or it starts in clockwise fashion. So top left, top right, and bottom left. So if we have 0, 0, 0, and if we do 0, that's just going to keep our square nice and tidy at the 0% mark. But if we change that at 25% to maybe change the bottom left to 50%. Could I have these? There we go. So, and carrying on from that, we can make this into a circle by just copy paste this in. Whoops, get rid of that. Paste and paste, and we're going to change the, let's change the top right to 50%, and then 50%, 50%, and let's just do all of them now at 50%. So once it finishes, it's going to be a full circle, and it will stick. You could do as well, transform, rotate, and let's say 180 degrees. So it's basically to your, at your discretion, how you want to, like, your imagination is as far as you can take this these animations. Is there anything else that I wanted to go over in? Yeah, with animation timing functions, so we can have something like animation timing function, ease in, out. So you'll see that there are numerous functions like ease in, out, ease out, linear, and I actually put together a little mock-up to show you how these work. So linear basically starts at the same at one speed and it continues with that same speed until the animation is done. Ease in, it'll start off slow and then pick up speed to meet that. I believe these are set to 3 seconds in order to meet the 3-second deadline that it has to reach. Ease out does the same thing as ease in, just in the opposite fashion. And ease in and out starts slow, builds up speed, and then it eases out. So it decreases speed on its way out of the animation. Let's see. Now, in reference to this, if we wanted to maybe add a box shadow, get rid of that rotate, that is ridiculous. So rather than writing all of this stuff out, we can simply put it into the animation itself. So animation action, let's do 4 seconds forwards, ease in, out. And we're going to add a box shadow to each individual percentage except for at the 0%. So let's do a box shadow. And the variables for this are as follows. So this variable here will manipulate the x-axis. So if I say 10 pixels, it's going to move a box shadow that way. To the right, 10 pixels. If I say negative 10 pixels, it will go to the left 10 pixels. Likewise, with this, it manipulates the y-axis, 10 pixels to the bottom. Otherwise, to the top is negative 10 pixels. Now, with the third, actually, let's just do 20 pixels each. With the third, that is our blur, and that will actually blur the edges of the shadow, so it looks more shadowy, I guess. And here is the fourth variable is the spread, and that dictates how many pixels, ems, rems you want it to be before the blur is actually initiated on the shadow. So if I say something like 100 pixels, it's not like it'll actually force the shadow out to 100 pixels and then blur it 5 pixels. So let's just do 10 pixels. So that's a little rundown on box shadows. Let's get back to the actual tutorial. 110. I want to do 1 pixels and 0 pixels, 0 pixels, and black. I need to change the height on this, sorry. So now we see that we have a shadow dropping down and at 25%, and we can manipulate even more shadows by adding a shadow to a shadow by way of using a comma and just adding another one. 110 pixel. And let's do blue. Up here I want to do orange. So let's continue this down, adding another shadow, and 110 pixels, 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 0 pixels, and we can do green. And look at that. Now if we do it at the 100% mark, it should please stick. Cool. And get rid of these background colors as well, because that's just confusing. Now you kind of have like a jankier version of the Windows logo. So anyways, that concludes this portion of the demo. I would like to now open up a different editor, and I'm going to show you how to animate a single div to make an actual image. So let's see, open with Live server. So with our mustache, if you didn't know about pseudo elements, you're going to learn, because with a single div, you have 3 elements that are able to be manipulated graphically. So what I mean by that is we have a .mustache class that we can manipulate. We have a .mustache before, as well as a .mustache after. These are called pseudo elements, and they are greatly useful in developing visual graphics. So let's see, let's get our mustache started with a width of 180 pixels. Oh my god. Height of 180 pixels. Let's position it absolute. Color will be black. Sorry, background will be black. It would help if I link the style sheet. So there we go. We have a positioned absolute, and we're going to do a border or a box shadow of 150 pixels, 240 pixels, and 0, 0, and we'll just do black. So you see that from the shadow, or from the actual main element, we have made basically another element just by using a shadow. We have the blur turned off, so we have nice crispy lines, and we can make another nested shadow at 300 pixels, 240 pixels, 0, 0, and black. And let's add a border radius to that. Of 50%. Whoops. So now we have kind of the startings of a mustache. We don't really have the rest of it, but we can get rid of this background color on the main element. And we can move now to the pseudo element, the before element, or the before pseudo element. And with these, you need to define its content every time, no matter if it's blank or if you want it to have something in it, you have to define it in order for it to show up. So we're going to establish it with a height of 120 pixels, a width of 210 pixels, and I'm going to give it a background color of red so you guys can see what's going on. Color. Not sure why that's not showing up. Let me take a look. I'm not sure why this div isn't showing up. Let's see. Apologize for this. Okay, interesting. So position absolute, and you can see that we have a rectangle of, that's red. So we can add a border to this that we can then add a radius to, and then we can drop the actual background color to give this guy a little, so let's just do border dash bottom, sorry. And we're going to do solid 180 pixels, which is the height of the actual mustache shadow element. So solid 180 pixels black. Cool. And if we move this down from the top, 120 pixels. See that it lines up, but we need a little mustache wax in it. So we're going to add a little border radius. And let's see, 100%. So the border radius is going to be, again, from the top left to the top right to the bottom left to the bottom right. So at this point, we want it to be at the bottom right. So we're going to do 0, 0, 0, and 100%. Boom. So now we have it positioned right. We have it in line with the actual mustache element, and we need to just move it from the left inwards 30 pixels. Boom. And we can get rid of this red. So there you go. And we can basically copy and paste this same element into, or these same variables into the after, and just manipulate a few of the variables. So so we're going to have the bottom right be the border radius, and then we're going to move it from the left 390 pixels. So there we go. But kind of want to have a little bit of a Pringle mustache, not really a French guy mustache. So we're going to do a transform, rotate. We're going to do 40 degrees. So as you can see, it didn't really rotate where we wanted it to, and we can manipulate that by doing a transform origin. And we will do that at a left 210 pixels. So now, there we go, and we can copy and paste this as well up here. And just do the inverse, -40, and from the right. And let's just push this out a little bit from, so, whoops. Pixels. So there we go. No. There we go. And now we can add actually a little keyframe to make this animation complete. So we can do at keyframes, and I'm going to do a shake right function, or animation, and at 0%, oops, we're going to do a transform rotate of 50 degrees. At 50%, we're going to do a transform rotate of 30 degrees, and then finish it off at 100% with 50 degrees. 100. We can do a similar function with keyframes to make the left mustache shake as well. So, naturally. So, shake left, and we'll basically do the inverse of -50, -30, and -50. Oops. There we go. And now we can simply add the animations to each pseudo element. So in the mustache after, I want to add the animation of shake right. And I want to have that 1 second ease in out. Oops. So there we go. We could do the same thing with up here and the other element. Left, 1 second, ease in and out. Did I name that right? Yeah. Shake R. Yeah. There we go. And there we go. Now we have a talking mustache. Again, I apologize. I know this probably wasn't what many of you were expecting to see or anything. This is more just a basic animation setup, or trying to teach the basics of animations. So I appreciate your time, and I want to end the presentation here. If you have any questions, I will try my best to answer them, but no guarantees.
I really like the example, Kyle.
Very much.
Your screen stopped sharing.
Oh, yeah.
So let's open it up for questions. I know you did answer some of the questions, but anyone? I think Shane likes border radius, so.
Thanks, Shane. Yeah, Blaine, like I didn't know anything about this style of CSS before. Like I really embarked on a bunch of YouTube tutorials and everything like that. And once I saw some of the stuff that it was capable of making, I was just so impressed that like I'm building my portfolio out of pure CSS and JavaScript right now. So it's very powerful, and I know that you can do a lot of stuff with just an SVG, but where's the fun in that? So
yeah. Wayne wanted to see the CSS.
Yeah, sorry. Let me get back to that. There we go. Why did you use before and after? So I wanted to show you the power that a div has, like a single div, and what you're able to do with that. So with that single div, you're able to branch it out into two other divs, right? And from those two other divs, you're able to manipulate them, add animations to them, add all sorts of different animations. So yeah. Let me see the style again. Can you keep keyframes code in a separate CSS file and then import it? I don't see why not. Bruce?
I think you can. I'm no CSS animations expert in any way. That's why I'm here. So try it. That's the beauty of this stuff. You just try it, right?
Yeah.
And Shane's question about the before and after pseudo selector, Kyle, do you want to talk to that at all?
Well, I kind of answered it up above, or to the best of my ability, I answered it above. If you need more information, I know W3 Schools has tons of information on before and after. I apologize that I'm not able to explain it any better than that, but...
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for attending. Kyle, thanks for enlightening us all on the intro to CSS animations. There's a ton of great information out there on this stuff, But again, Kyle, you're going to make the code available somewhere?
Yes, I will try to do that.
Yeah, and I'll send that out to all the people who attended, along with the recording from today's webinar. And again, thank you everyone for attending today.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you guys.